Hey y'all, just fished Delta 22nd and 23rd of July. There is a lot to talk about, but at the same time, there's not much to talk about. So it's typical summer Delta fishing. Fishing together, just fun fishing. Saturday, we started off in that Mildred area around there, and started focusing on islands off the beginning just to see what would come out. What started working for me was the man's -1 and just slow rolling it on that surface. And I was picking them up and catching anywhere from decent sized keepers to small dinks. And he picked up his
click clack chatterbait.
buzzbait.
It's a buzzbait. River Sea, the booyah baits.
Booyah baits.
Still running it, catching fish. I was doing that, and depending on what the water looked like, I was picking up frogs. Again, river to sea frogs.
Yeah, your first couple came off the black frog.
Yeah, when it's low light, I like throwing the black. Once the sun starts coming up, I go to the white.
Yep. And then that is, you guys will see a double up on here. I was throwing the white frog, and I think I got it to the boat, and as I got it into the boat, he picked up a fish on a buzzbait. So they are very active right now, which is great because Delta has not been fun.
Right.
And they're finally turned on. So it is not lights out like it normally is in the past, but it is definitely not bad. If you pay attention, we did not even get out all of the baits that we caught fish on, but it basically is a laundry list. Once we worked into the actual Mildred area, I picked them up on a swim jig. This is, I think it's called Tactical Shad with a thread fin 3/8 Kitech on it. Just basically throwing it in there into the sloppiest slop and bringing it out. And they were kind of spread out a little bit on that, but they definitely were eating this. A little bit later on, we went to something a little deeper. And I was throwing the Yamatanuki to test this bait out. Never really played with it. This color is green pumpkin amber. It's just like a laminate two-tone. I'm not really sure how I feel about this bait. It's interesting. It has a little dangle to it, but I don't know. Jury's still out. I think I'd rather throw a Cinco in half of the situation, but it does get bit.
I do like that it has the slot for the hook on both sides, right? Like
yeah.
You could hide a hook in there, especially for the Delta. But, throwing a Cinco has a lot, I don't know.
Has more play.
Maybe
it's kind of, it falls different, that's for sure. This you can almost kind of work like a fluke. After you get down on the bottom, and if you twitch it a little bit, it'll dart like a fluke. I did not get bit doing that, but I did notice it does it. Pretty much, I think, when did you get the Cinco bite? Was that on Saturday or Sunday?
It was Saturday.
So Saturday he had a Cinco bite on purple with emerald.
Yeah.
And
Texas
then,
rig.
Texas rig, and then most of the time we're either fishing basically either tule lines or weed lines, inside or out.
Right. Rock.
Weather was basically no wind on Saturday,
hot.
And really, really hot. And it definitely, we were off the water at like noonish or something, and
yeah,
went and got our famous little hot dogs at B&W. Sunday was a little bit different. There was clouds, there was wind. It changed it up. We went to the potato area, and because of that wind and clouds, I picked up a whopper plopper in the black or loon color and started catching a bunch of fish. They definitely really preferred this compared to some other top waters, and then at the same time, or think a little bit later. I think actually it took a little bit for that sun to come up.
Yeah,
That's
this wasn't. Yeah, this wasn't working in that morning, that dark.
No.
I threw it and threw it and threw it. I ended up picking up a 2 something.
Yes.
With the black frog, way deep. It was like a long cast into some bad stuff, and it was like one of those casts was like, that was a great cast. I should get paid for it, and I did.
Yeah, it's set up. It's got like the overhanging pennywort or whatever that is, not hyacinth, the other stuff, and then it had like a tule clump and open water and a weed line, and it was that textbook thing that everyone talks about, and it paid out, and we jumped in really quick and got the boat closer to it and netted it out. And then we went a little bit later on. We covered, in the whole weekend, we covered anywhere from B&W to Disappointment to Mildred, just Frank's Track.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of territory just shopping around. The main crucial thing, or I should say the one common thing, was cleaner weeds. Something that doesn't have that nasty moss, black moss stuff on it.
Yeah.
That cleaner weeds. A lot of the day Sunday, you were throwing buzzbait.
Threw it.
What were you looking for on that? What were you doing with that?
Well, I was throwing the buzzbait one because the way the water was, you couldn't really throw like a crankbait or anything, a square bill, because you would have been in the weeds. This was going over the top of the weeds, and
it was high tide.
And it was high tide.
High tide.
So I was going into as far back as I could with it. But it comes out of the weeds pretty good, and typically you get a good bite, right? Like you get a big bite with the buzzbait, and so that's what I was going for. I was trying to get us some fish, and it didn't really work out on Sunday as well as I wanted it to until we hit some rock.
Yeah.
And once we hit rock, I started putting fish in the boat.
Yeah, that rock to weed line, I don't know if you're paying attention in the videos playing, but every time that buzzbait got to that weed line is where he'd get eaten. Every time. I did not in any way put all of the fish catches in this video. There's a ton of different fish catches. There are a ton of different baits that did work out. While he was going on that buzzbait on that rock thing, I took advantage of the idea of throwing the 60 whopper plopper because, well, I bought this dang thing. It's super cute. It's super tiny. And I wanted to catch fish on it to say I have.
What color is that one?
I believe this is the monkey butt color.
Yeah, I just wanted you to say that.
Just monkey butt.
I just wanted you to say that.
It's actually a really good color. It's slightly different in the small one than it is in the bigger one. The tail is not as painted, but
it works.
Yeah, I could say I've caught one on it now. Yeah. That's really mainly what I want to do. Other than that, that was the other thing for Sunday. When that wind picked up and I could not get bit on a Cinco.
Mm-hmm.
And I was throwing it in the same areas that he was throwing the buzzbait and where I was catching this. I could not get bit on a Cinco. I tried throwing the Yamatanuki. Still couldn't get bit on it. I think I had one short strike it, and that was it. Normally you can play in that back alley with those fish and they will eat it. I'm not exactly sure why, but they definitely turned off. Other than that, I think we moved back to some other areas, went back to that Mildred area, was throwing frog and not really getting them to play. A ton of short strikes on Sunday also.
Yeah.
They were eating this buzzbait. But when I was going slow with this frog, they would short strike it. They'd bring it down, and you would suck water into this, so they're crushing it. But I could not get hooks in them, and I'm not sure why. They just weren't eating it all the way, and they would you'd just see the boil behind it. We tried changing it up with colors. We tried a couple other things, and they weren't eating it. You did when the wind died down. and it got a lot sunnier, and you picked up a punch.
I picked up a punch. I picked up the D-bomb, the California Love. Threw it in there. Went to the bottom, raised up to the top. When I let it down to the bottom, I saw Thule start moving around where I was at, and I was like, "Hey, that's not right."
Yeah, you can't see that, you can't hear the audio on it, but you actually see him say, "Hey," right before he sets the hook.
Yeah.
Because he notices it swimming off.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it. We had 10.11 on Saturday, and then just under 14 on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that basically that buzzbait and plopper bite, frog in the beginning, in the morning, right. Frog, the afternoon they left it alone. That bite definitely did help, and like I said, we covered a lot of territory, moved around a lot of things. We basically caught fish everywhere. It's just whether it's size or not size is basically the difference. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, leave comments down below. You can always hit me up on Instagram, Straight Hooked Fishing.
I will be at UFC.
Yeah, he's going to be at UFC. I am working, but he will be at UFC.
Say hi.
So you look for him. He'll be in a Ranger, the same Ranger that's in this boat, or in this videos, because since my boat's still in the shop and will be in the shop for at least a couple weeks. Warranty issues, basically. Again, Instagram, comments down below, and until next time, I hope you get them.